Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Cooking for Health with Timah. And today I'm going to be making some turnip greens. I'm going to show you how to not use any of the oils or anything else to like make your greens tender. So I already have a bunch of turnip greens already washed and cut up. So they're all good and cut up here. And so what I'm going to do, I have a pot of water that's boiling with a little bit of salt inside of it, and you're gonna put this inside of the boiling water. You're gonna let it sit in there for like 5 minutes, and then you'll take that out and you'll hit it with some cold water so that it'll stop cooking. Now if you want, instead of hitting it with some cold water, you can just go ahead and put it right over into your stir-fry pot with your onions and then some of our other seasons. But I'm gonna go ahead and put this inside of the my boiling water. I have my greens inside of the boiling water. Now once you put your greens inside of the boiling water, it may drop the temperature a little bit, but you want your water to continue to boil all while your greens are going to be sitting in there for that entire 5 minutes. So I'm cutting up my onions. And I'm also going to saute some oyster mushrooms to go with this. Aren't these beautiful? So I've already cleaned, well, I've already washed these, as in with soap and water. So wash them, soap and water. You're just gonna make a little pot of soap and water together, just like a drop of the soap. I use the soap that doesn't have any coloring. You know, that free and clear. So I use that. Clean it. Just take it, swish it around inside the water really good, and then you want to rinse it off really good, and then you're going to let it sit on some napkins and they'll completely dry out. You're not going to lose the flavor of your mushrooms. You're not going to use the smell of your mushrooms or anything. It's not going to hold on to any additional water. Okay, you see that? I'm going to cut these up because I'm going to marinate them. Not marinate them, but I'm going to cook them down with the onions, and then I'm going to cook them with the greens. I don't always use mushrooms inside my greens. Usually the only seasons that I'll use inside of my greens is probably going to be some ginger, some onion powder, then my mushrooms, and a little salt. And if you want to use a broth, you could use my my seaweed broth with your greens. Now after your greens have boiled down for 5 minutes, you do not have to discard that water. Excuse me. And I suggest that you don't discard that water, because you can also use that water as a broth as well. And you can use the your seaweed inside of that broth to make your broth a bit more meatier, for lack of a better word. All right. So I just want to show you what the mushrooms look like. You see how they're not hold on to any water. You see how dried out they are. There you go. All right. So we're going to give the greens a few more minutes in the water. It's almost 5 minutes. And then I'll take that out. But my skillet is already hot, and so I'm going to go ahead and throw my onions in and saute that down. And then I'm going to saute down my mushrooms with it. Alright, so I just took my greens out of the water. And now I have them, of course, as you see, with my onions and my mushrooms. And the only other seasons that I have with this is going to be some onion powder, some ginger powder. Sometimes, usually I'll use fresh slices of ginger with my greens, especially with like my amaranth, my callaloo greens. And then you just need just some sea salt. So I'm going to let this cook on down. Let all the seasons go through the greens, and after about 3 minutes or so, this is really going to be done. Now the water that your turnip greens came out of, you don't want to throw that away because you can use that water as a broth. You can put your seaweed inside of that broth. The way that I made my seaweed broth. So instead of just using water, you use your broth from your greens, and you'll prepare your broth that way. So I'm going to cover this over and let this cook down for like 3 minutes, and this is all going to be done. My greens are all done and everything is all plated up, and I also prepared some oyster mushrooms, and I made them taste just like a seafood. I have a special seasoning called kelp mushrooms, and here you go. See that really good? Alright, let me get your better. These are your turnip greens, all cooked down, and you see how beautiful green they still are. And I also have videos up on doing kale greens. I didn't make a video on my amaranth greens, but I do have information on my Facebook page in regards to how to do your amaranth greens using the fresh ginger and onions. Alrighty, and this is all done. Smelling so good and yummy. I'm about to get my eat on. Yes, yes. That is so good. Greens just melt in your mouth. Yeah, greens are not. Excuse me. Your greens do not have to cook for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or anything like that. You do a pre-boil for like 5 minutes. Make sure your water is already boiling before you put your greens inside of it. Only let your greens stay in for 5 minutes. Then you're going to take it out. If you haven't already sauteed your onions and anything else that you're going to put inside of your greens, then I would suggest you straining your, you run your greens up under some cold water. Don't throw your broth where you want to keep that. But get a strainer. Put all your greens inside the strainer and run it up under some cold water until the greens have gotten cold so they can stop cooking. And you'll be good. Just like these greens. And mushrooms. This is awesome, guys. This is awesome.